Not just decoration. We are transformation. In the beginning was a garden.
Hear us?
This is Garden Studios. Welcome home.
Check one. Check it out. Mic check 1, 2, 3.
Beautiful. I'll do a clap just for the hell of it.
This is Garden Studios. Welcome home.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Garden Studios podcast. Today's is a special day, guys. It's because the lost sheep has come home.
I'm back.
From Miami.
The prodigal.
From Miami. Now, before I say her name, we're gonna reintroduce. Even though I don't think we introduced you the first time.
Yeah.
We did.
We did. Well, we're gonna reintroduce you because you're worth reintroducing. So our friend here, who is our Cuban sister from Miami, she's been in Miami the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And she was here for our very first episode of Garden Studios podcast when we didn't even have mic stands. Mm-hmm. And just things were a little bit ghetto. Right now, we're still a little ghetto. We're still missing one mic stand, but that's okay.
No, this is so professional.
Yeah,
Very
you think
far
so?
from ghetto.
We have like lights. You guys can't see it, but we have
Yeah.
like professional lights so you guys can see our faces.
So much has happened.
And Kristine, she has been a part of Gardens since day one, since the beginning.
Oh, gee.
And she's a jazz master. Is that a thing?
Sure.
Jazz master. Can you give us a little Scooby-Dooby? Scooby-Doo. And yeah, without further ado, let's put our hands together for Kristine Bover.
Woo!
Hey, Kristine, welcome home. Welcome back from Miami. So how was your trip?
It was all right. It was
Yeah.
cool. Good seeing people, old friends, family, being back where
Right.
I grew up in the 305.
305.
Where Mr. Worldwide is from.
305.
Yeah. Pitbull, my
There was a
uncle.
lot of crabs out there,
Yes.
which is amazing. I had no idea you guys had street crabs.
So
Like hundreds of them.
yeah, so it's typically, I looked it up. It's normal in the rainy season that the blue land crabs come out, and they're called blue land crabs, but they're orange in this vibrant bright blue, and they flood the streets. Like hundreds and hundreds of crabs on the street, like while you're driving. Like there was times I was running over crabs, but they were small
you hear
enough.
the crunch?
No, I wouldn't run over them with my wheels. It would just be under. Like I would pass over them because they're small enough that you wouldn't hit them. But I've lived in Miami my entire life, and that particular dock that I go to a lot, it's in Pinecrest, if you know Miami. I've been there like consistently for the past 5 years. Wow. I've never seen them. It felt like a gift. I love crabs.
Really?
I see all the crab crossing signs. We have how here we have deer crossing signs.
Right.
We have crab crossing signs. But I never knew what that was for. And then all these crabs.
I would totally, if I lived in Miami, I would like 100%, I would try to eat them.
Can you eat them? I feel like they would taste disgusting.
Yeah, I feel like a land crab wouldn't be good. Maybe a sea crab. We also have crabs at the beach too, but
So they can't swim?
crabs. I think they can. I don't know. I don't think they like a lot of water because the reason they came out on the street is because it was raining so much.
Right.
It's like the marshy land was flooded, so they came out on the street. But it was
No,
Find some
knowing
dry
me,
land.
if we were in Miami, I would keep like a pet crab.
Yes.
Totally
You don't know how many times Paul has tried to catch a lizard or spider and keep it. So
Yeah,
did.
we currently have over 200 spiders because one laid eggs.
You 200.
Yeah,
well,
they-
it's like
they- they're tiny.
They're still baby ones.
Yeah, they're like almost microscopic. Yeah, they're beautiful.
We're not keeping
We're
them.
gonna transition to our first segment, and for the viewers that maybe it's your first time watching us, our first segment is called Word of the Day. Now it's a game where we use a crazy word that nobody ever uses, and whoever uses it within our podcast first wins the word of the day. Now, babe, what do we win?
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights, respect, and higher self-esteem.
That's all I care about.
And a picture with a thumb.
A picture with a thumb. Huh? Oh, yes. A Polaroid picture. Oh, my Filipino accent. Oh, exotic. I'm feeling exotic today.
ethnic.
My Filipino picture with a thumb. Okay? So today's word of the day is, let's do a little drum roll. How about that? I can only do it with one hand. Chock-a-block.
Chock-a-block.
Chock-a-block. Is that, so Chock-a-block doesn't sound like a rapper.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Chock-a-block. So it's an adjective.
Chuck a block with my Glock.
Oh.
Okay, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. She's coming off hot right now. Back from Miami. She brought Miami with her. So it means crammed full of people or things. So an example would be, this airplane is chock-a-block with passengers. This, my body is chock-a-block with calories. Whatever. Those are...
You're going a different way.
my high blood pressure is chock-a-block my veins. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, if you're a doctor, I need one. Just kidding. So that's what chock-a-block means. Okay, so that's activated now.
It means packed.
Crammed with
Crammed or
Too many
packed.
people.
people or things, whatever.
Okay.
Whatever's crammed.
Congested.
Right, congested. So for our right now we're gonna do a quick artist spotlight, and our artist spotlight is for an artist.
Drum roll first.
Oh, we're gonna do drum roll. Okay, sorry.
Drum roll for
Ready,
everything.
set. Keep going. We're gonna do 5-minute drum roll. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. It's Anees. I hope I'm saying that right. It's
Yes.
spelled Anees. He blew up the past maybe year or so.
Yeah, a couple
on
years.
TikTok, Instagram, and he's going on tour.
East Coast mostly, I think.
East Coast, yes, East Coast. So in 7/28, what month is 7?
Now.
January, February, July. So on the
now.
28th, he's gonna be in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, obviously, in the World Cafe Live. Okay, so 7/28, and on the 29th, he'll be in Washington D.C. at the Howard Theater. Don't miss out. He's a great artist. But can I just be honest? The real reason why we're giving him a shout out is because my best friend is on tour with him. Richard
Nobrega.
Richard Nobrega Jr., otherwise known as Nobes Music. He's the lead guitarist / music director for Anees right now. He's toured with Ja Rule, with Gloria Gaynor, with
Gloria Gaynor.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me about that one.
Yeah, I
No.
think he
That's
still
legit,
does
y'all.
shows.
You know
He
what
still
that
does shows with her.
He's legitimate.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be there. He'll be right there. He's amazing. He's an amazing guitarist. Follow him on YouTube and IG. His handle is Nobes Music,
Which we'll put right here.
which will be right there. And he's a musician, producer, and he's my best friend. So you guys should totally support him. And go to his concert thingies with Anees. Before we transition, we're gonna do artist spotlights from artists of the olden days,
Oh, cool.
Oh, really?
ancient of days. So, and I want to talk about how that changed how we live today. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So, between 1495 and 1498, a young man named Da Vinci, what's his first name?
Leonardo.
Leonardo da Vinci painted The Last Supper. And if you look at this painting, everything is wrong. It's obviously with Jesus and his disciples. Everything is wrong. He's not a historian. He's a painter, but he got everything historically wrong. There's no tables like that. The clothes they were wearing wasn't quite right. Even like the structure that they're in, they were like in almost like a Greek large building. It's not right. But what's significant about this painting is that there's one guy in the painting that has his elbows on the table, and his name was Judas Iscariot, and he then betrayed Jesus with a kiss on his cheek.
He's the betrayer.
The betrayer. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but now people don't want us putting our elbows on the table, and it comes from that painting. So it's crazy.
What, are you kidding me?
No, for real.
Seriously,
That's-
I used
that's
to
for
get in trouble
realsies.
when I was younger, and I would eat, and I would have my elbows on the
Well, yeah,
table.
but it came from that painting?
It came from that painting. And
Because you'd be like Judas.
right. So it's like it's like superstition, like, oh my gosh, that's sinful.
Judas.
They said it's like a disgrace.
Judas.
Like when I would get in trouble, they said it's a disgrace to the food or
'Cause
something.
you're betraying baby Jesus.
Jesus.
Not adult Jesus, just the baby. No, but so it's crazy how that was painted. They're around 1495, 1498, and it's still changed our culture today.
Wow.
Our second shout out is Clement Moore. who wrote A Visit from Saint Nicholas back in December 23rd, 1823. That's when it was published. And prior to December 23rd, 1823, Christmas was about like Jesus and like the three Magi's or Magis. I don't know.
Yeah,
Magi's?
Magi's.
Three wise kings.
And they're like in a farm.
Magi. I don't know.
I don't know.
I had a friend that was her last name. And
Magi?
I never knew how to say it, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Was there three of them? Mad biblical.
Actually, just two siblings.
There's two.
Yeah.
They need to work on that. But after he wrote A Visit from Saint Nicholas, all of a sudden it's about Santa Claus and elves and Christmas trees. So it's crazy how one poem completely changed the culture of Christmas. And our last shout out is we actually don't know who painted this or drew this guy, but someone drew Andrew Jackson as a donkey in 1828. Now, if you guys don't know, Andrew Jackson is the first Democrat person to run for presidency. And someone was like, Andrew Jackson, more like Andrew Jackass. And so he actually drew him as a donkey with his head, with Andrew Jackson's head. And now we associate donkeys as Democrats, which is crazy.
Is that where it came from?
That's where it came from.
So then who called somebody an elephant?
I don't know. Probably.
I wonder, was that like the first like political like caricature type? Because you know, like
For-
that's a big thing in society now.
Maybe
like
someone
commentary and
painted
politics
someone
through
as
art.
yeah, probably someone painted someone as an elephant. Who knows?
That's wild.
Yeah.
You know, when you said Andrew Jackson, why was I
Uh-huh.
first thinking of Andrew Garfield?
Is that
Why is this
Spider-Man?
That's Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was like, why are you talking about somebody painting him as
Andrew Jackson.
a dog?
Marvel changed our culture too. Look, superhero movies were whack back in like the 2000s.
You would be like a nerd if you like.
Right.
Back in the 2000s, I
Yeah.
feel like it was cool then.
Was you were with the wrong crowd. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I didn't like them, but I would see them, and I thought it was cool that I just
Right.
didn't like it. I mean, I was a little girl. So.
Right. But like I feel like nowadays everyone watches Marvel.
Marvel or DC.
You know what I mean?
Not me.
Me neither. There's so many movies. I can't keep up.
That's too much for me.
They're good though.
Yeah.
So sorry. If
I don't
that's
know.
what you love what you love.
Yeah, it's great, film, you know what I mean? Every time I watch it, I fall asleep. Not because it's not a good film, but because there's something about movie
theater.
theaters.
That's so loud, though. How do you sleep?
I
during
feel
that?
so
It's dark.
sick.
They're
It's
destroying
cold.
the city, throwing stuff around, and you can sleep through that?
I don't think I've ever watched a movie, no matter how good, and not fallen asleep.
That's true. Expect when we're at the theater, because we always go to the one they have the reclining seats.
Yeah.
So Paul always just like
Like the curvature of my body, I feel like the curvature is like perfect mold. And it's just like there's no air pockets. I become the couch. Yeah, it's really nice and snug.
Gosh.
So yeah, it's interesting how these three artists created something that completely shifted our social culture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, do you guys think they knew the change they were going to create?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I doubt it. I don't think anyone really knows the lasting effects of their work until years down the line.
Until they're dead.
And I think there's something innately like about humans that like we can't fully believe the actual effect we can have, especially when it's such on a like big scale like that. I don't think we were created to really like process that like that large of a scale. So like someone like what they did with the Andrew Jackson thing, like that like completely changed like politics in America for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. So to think like there's no way to actually process that. I don't think you can wrap your head around it. Just like I feel like when you're on Instagram and let's say you have like millions of followers, I don't think you can really comprehend like what it looks like to be actually speaking to that many
That's
people.
true.
Honestly, like influencers became a big thing. Like back then, you didn't have people who are influencers.
And that's art. That's their medium. It's
they get
social
paid
media.
to they get paid to like their name influence like
Yeah.
society.
They're shaping culture.
Yeah.
Right. Well, about influencers, someone asked me to start an OnlyFans. I'm actually strongly considering it. That would be
You know, it didn't start with bad intentions.
It was usually like
It was supposed to be Patreon.
right. And so now the I don't know if you guys know, but my calipigiousness If you don't know that word, watch episode 5.
The family renaissance one.
That means very bodacious. I don't know, buttocks.
A good shaped buttocks.
Right. So the people use their medium is their booty. Is that fair? Is that fair to say?
I guess.
And
They spend a lot of money on it sometimes.
yeah, on the gym, and they release, I guess, art.
Yeah.
Which goes back to our secular versus sacred podcast. It's like using it for whichever, the right kingdom or the wrong kingdom.
So you would say that would be dark arts. That would be the dark arts.
I would say yes, the dark arts
Right.
of using your
Showing.
creativity or your, you know.
Yeah, that's where the sun don't shine. So it's dark arts.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But anyways, today we're actually gonna be talking about how creatives shift culture. And so that's why we started talking about Da Vinci, Clement Moore, Andrew Jackson, his painting, that is. And I guess, Kristine, like, yeah, you're right. I don't think we really know the shift that we create through our art. Like maybe 100 years from now, someone will find an artifact, which is a MacBook, and find all our podcast recordings, because I consider this a medium. And who knows? Maybe we'll be famous 100 years from now, and we'll change culture. And they'll name a city after me. I'm crying right now. Just the thought of them naming a city after me. Look, I'm really tearing up.
There's so many streets
City of
though
Paul.
with already
Yeah.
the name St. Paul or
Yeah, there's the
There's so
capital
many.
of South Dakota, right?
Is it Paul?
Is St. Paul?
Is it?
I have no idea. I
Sorry,
forgot.
South Dakota.
But like, but it's crazy how like Picasso wasn't famous until after he died.
Yeah.
So maybe someday we'll change the world. But yeah, I mean, and it's sad because a lot of times it's a little discouraging to put out work, or because it feels like it's not making a difference. You know what I mean? And we really do. It might not be in our time, but it will. So in World War II, the Nazi regime actually started building prisons specifically for writers, poets, and artists, and illustrators, and screenwriters, because the Nazi regime was so afraid that if this set of people went against them, they could actually get the influence of the people and to go against the Nazi regime. So it's crazy how freaking Hitler was scared of artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you go inside one of these prisons, by the way, there's a big mural on the wall, and the crazy thing is they actually take away all their art supplies, all their
Mediums,
paint, all their
things.
mediums, but they still managed to paint this beautiful mural on the wall. And what they did was they started cutting themselves open and mixing their blood with dust. And over the years that they were in prison, they created a mural, which is crazy. So they really fought for their yes and their purpose, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I think the biggest yes I do is, to be honest, just getting up in the morning and putting these lights. And so we have it really good, guys.
We have it
Yeah.
easy. There's not much opposition to create, or you know,
Well, what would you guys say is the biggest opposition to creating?
I think
mindset. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say that it just feels like the world is oversaturated with creatives. Like right now, it's just chock block with too many artists.
That was pretty good.
I've been waiting for that one.
That was pretty good.
I forgot the word though. Is that the word?
Yes.
That was chock-a-block. Yeah.
Chock-a-block.
Chock-a-block. Yeah, the world is just... No, but honestly, I think for me, that's the biggest thing that keeps me from creating. Because there's so many people making art. So many people making music. So many people doing this. And I'm like, why do I need to just add to the noise of the world?
Yeah.
There's so many people already doing this. Like, what do I have to say? And then thinking of that concept of, like, changing the world. Like, that feels just so daunting and so big.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would I do that? Like, why would I change the world? Like, that's too much.
Yeah.
And, like, there's already so many people. So I think pushing past that, well, we could get into that later. But
No, go for
now,
it.
like, I think... I don't know, because as we brought up this subject, and I was thinking of creatives and culture and how we can shape history. And you see it in, like, all society, literally every society. The artists are the ones that move forward. they're bringing up the crazy ideas, the things that sound weird and very different to public opinion. And then over time, public opinion shifts to what the artists were saying years before. And we're seeing that really, especially right now. Like Hollywood and media for years have like been really like, I guess, projecting a different ideal and lifestyle than that was normal to like the American public. And now most Americans have shifted.
Yeah.
Like they're totally like all their opinions have changed because all of our media is saying something different.
Right.
Which can be great and can not be great at certain times. But I think as artists, if we think about how saturated the market is and how influential we are, it's just going to stop us from creating.
Yeah.
But I think what keeps me going, at least, is thinking of that one person that when I post a song and they commented saying, I really needed this. It's like really like changed my life.
Right.
Or even not changed my life, but I've been blessed to have comments like that. But just like little things like that, or like this made my day. I really needed this right now.
Right.
And like focusing on those little moments of like those little interactions and being like, okay, I'm gonna keep sharing my art because this did this for this person.
Right.
And not focusing so much on the big picture.
Right.
And just trusting if my art or I'm supposed to be that influential, it'll just happen. I don't have to think about how it's gonna happen. I just need to be consistent and steward what I'm doing.
Right.
And if it's supposed to have that big of an impact, cool.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, like if it's supposed to blow up and I'm the next freaking Da Vinci, like, is it really my job to think about that or care?
Right.
Like, because that's in the Lord's hands. If He wants to use me that way.
Right.
You know?
I think that the important thing is to stay authentic, right?
Yeah.
I think what really changes the world is authenticity. And I agree where we shouldn't have that in our focus. Like, I'm going to be, like if I paint Kristine as an octopus, all the Cubans are going to be like, octopus, that's a terrible analogy, but like, just like being like, being authentic to who you are. And also it's life-giving to artists. Yeah. If an artist doesn't make art, if you're a musician and you don't make music, you're slowly dying. Like if you're a painter and you don't paint, like you're slowly dying. And it's life-giving. And to be authentic to who we're called to be it brings life to us. Someone, I think we mentioned in a past podcast that burnout is not doing too much, is not doing a chock-a-block of things. I just used it also. But
okay.
Although you won. By the way, congratulations.
Congratulations.
I was waiting for my congrats.
And you're the number 8th winner. And so we'll do a Polaroid picture later.
Wonderful.
But it's like, burnout is not doing too much, but it's actually doing too little of what you're called to be. And so if we just start being authentic to who we're called to be, if you're called to cook, go cook, you know what I mean? And maybe it'll change the world, you know? I was watching this video yesterday from, I don't know if you guys know Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how artists actually drive the economy. And I was like, what? And he starts talking about, I'm probably going to butcher some of the things I say, but he said how artists usually move into, because they don't make a lot of money, they move into like really quasi-criminal looking places.
Quasi-criminal?
Yeah, like kind of like shady, super shady, right? And they beautify it. They make it. They create murals. They start opening galleries. Then a coffee shop shows up. All of a sudden, it starts getting nicer. All of a sudden, these guppies who are like young adults who just had their careers start moving in, and then the city starts getting nicer. All of a sudden, developers come in and take over and kick all the artists out because they, which is
because they can't afford
because they can't afford it anymore. But then those artists then go into other places that look criminal and that are like broken down, and then they do the same thing. So he starts talking about how artists actually move our economy, which is crazy. I had no idea that they do that or we do that.
Well, people love beauty.
Yeah.
And like they follow it, whether they know it or not. It's like I think we're just innately created to pursue beautiful things.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's why people follow me around. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's
cops.
why.
Usually cops that follow me around.
They're just so like attracted to the beauty.
Right, to my beauty. Yeah, and they take pictures of me on the street light, on the what was it?
the camera,
on the cameras.
the traffic
Yeah.
light cameras.
Yeah, they just sent me a $500 ticket, Kristine.
Wait, for real?
For turning right on red without
And they got
stopping
my-
first.
Was it on Tehama?
I don't know, but they got my picture. It's really good angle. They got my good side, and
We
that's
should
all
add
that
it
matters.
here.
Yeah. What my picture?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I want to see it.
It's literally on the fridge.
Well, we'll add
I'm gonna
it.
tell how to point as well.
Oh no, I was just like saying quickly, the first thing that came into my head was mindset. Like
Yeah.
it's like a battle of like kind of like what you were saying, like oh what is this gonna do to the world, or even just being distracted by everything else. So it's like kind of pushing yourself to do it, and also comparison is one of the biggest thing I think, which is like, oh my work or my art is not as good as this person, so why should I even try? So yeah, those are like the biggest factors that I think kind of stops us from actually creating what we need to create.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think like art is like kind of like I feel like we're gatekeepers of I would say God's presence. And if you're a Gentile, maybe what's a better word that would make them Gentiles?
We are also
like
Gentiles.
If you're not Jewish, you're Gentile.
What was that?
If you're not Jewish, you're a Gentile.
Oh, I'm Jewish. You guys
Wait, also, side note, I looked this up the other day. When you were joking calling people Philistines, that is legitimately like an actual term. And when you refer to someone as a Philistine, it's someone that's uncultured and unaware of art.
Oh my gosh.
So you really were like making a point by accident. Like you didn't know, but that word is like legit and used like in today.
Yeah, you Philistine. I'm just kidding. So for the people who I've called a Philistine, can I just make a public apology?
Yeah, for sure.
I want to look straight into the camera. For the families, thousands of families that were directly affected by my words, I'd like to make a public apology. I was not aware about the definition that I use of the words that I used irresponsibly. I hope that someday you'll find it in your heart to forgive me, for I'm actually the one who is a Philistine for not knowing what the word Philistine means. Thank you.
I feel like you're on the verge of tears right now.
I was.
You really were taking
Yeah.
yourself there. That like standard YouTube apology.
Yeah. So 1 to 10, how good was that apology? Like, did that touch your hearts?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
8.
actually really good.
That's 8.
8, I think.
Yeah. Thank
Could've been
you.
better. The tear
I
would've
felt
taken
honestly,
it.
I felt it. I didn't think I was gonna feel it. There was a moment there, like this left tear duct started welling up.
But you were referring to
Mm-hmm.
non-Christian people as we're trying to find a word for them.
Right. I think we're gatekeepers to God's presence, honestly.
Yeah.
And
We are.
whatever our gate is our medium. And it doesn't have to be art. It doesn't have to be painting. It doesn't have to be music. It could be, if you're a politician, it could be making policies. If you're a business owner, it could be, making your business strategy. It could be that. But I think if we keep our gates closed and we don't create, then that's just less of heaven being on earth. Now, in the Bible, there's the parable of the Minas, where there's a dude who gives people, Minas is basically money, right? And he gives their workers minus, right? Money basically, and this dude, let's say, gives $1. This guy, he gives $5. This guy, he gives $10, and then he comes back, and then he was like, "All right, what'd you do with the money I gave you?" One guy's like, "Oh, well, the $10 you gave me, I invested it, and now it's $20. Oh, good job. I'm gonna put you over cities." This guy's like, "Oh, I made another $1 off the $5 you gave me. Oh, good job. Let me put you over this city." And the guy who's like, I buried your money because I was afraid I was gonna lose it. Oh, well, he actually like banished him or something.
Yeah.
Took him off and took what he had, and then kind of just like
Sent him away.
Yeah, it
Quick
was like,
hot take: is God a Republican? We're not going to answer that. But anyways, but it's crazy how the person that handled what they were given well, the cities were given to them to take over. What would happen if we stewarded our gates well, our mediums are. Like, what would our cities look like if every artist was creating, if every writer was writing, if every musician was creating music? Our streets would probably be so crazy. It would probably be so beautiful. It would probably look a lot more like heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're creative out there, if you're an artist, musician, what have you, I don't think it's a one person type deal where one person changes culture. I think it's a collective of us.
Yeah.
I think it's when all of us come together and start creating and releasing heaven onto the streets. I think that's where revival happens. I think that's where our cities will look like heaven on earth.
Yeah, and I feel like it sounds so cliche, but it's so true that everyone carries something so different that nobody else can do. Like, we were literally made to create things that no one else can, because we look like a different part of God. Like, everyone carries something, like a different part of God that nobody else has.
Yeah.
So when you bring that forth and as a collective bring it together, we bring beauty to this world.
Yeah, and altogether, all the different facets of the Lord that we all reflect. Once we all create and bring what we have together, we start giving a fuller picture of who God is to the world.
Yeah.
And they're so used to seeing one side, or what they think is one side. So what if there's so many people that like reflect God in a different way, and you're timid to share your art or even express your experience of the Lord because it feels different than what's being portrayed, but actually that's what the world needs to get that full picture of like the face of God.
Right.
So we all reflect him like slightly differently, you know?
Yeah.
For sure. That's great.
Actually, all of this was reminding me of I was listening to this YouTube video from this guy Adam Neely. I don't know if you guys
I'm not familiar.
I think so.
watch him. He's this killer jazz like bass player, really sick dude. But he grew up in the church and now he's not walking with the Lord. But he did a video on Christian contemporary music. And he went to like listen to Bethel, which is funny because I'm watching it and he's like talking about Bethel. I'm like, that's my church, dude. Chill out. Like,
was he going off?
Yeah, a little bit. But it was like Bethel, Hillsong, all these things. But it was really interesting because he went into it with this very open perspective. But he was saying, if these people claim that they are in tune with the creator of the earth, why does their music sound like this? And he's like, and this guy does crazy avant-garde like jazz. He's a killer musician. But he was saying like throughout the whole video and at the end, he was like, I get it. I feel what they're getting towards. And I know like for congregational worship, he was understanding of like, this is why we do certain things and patterns.
Right.
But he's like, why aren't Christians, if they are connected with the creator, why aren't they the forerunners of music and art? And it shook me because this man does not believe in God, does not like, he's just making an observation, and it really struck me. And I'm like, if I am in touch and in communion with the living God, the creator of heaven and earth, and it's true that I claim that like he lives inside of me, like it's part of fundamental to our faith.
Right.
The creator of heaven and earth lives inside of us.
Yeah.
So like, why are we not the forerunners of everything in art when we're in touch with the one who created everything?
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
really like a challenge, I
Sheesh.
feel like, and a charge for us as creatives of we can watch how artists shape culture, but it kind of puts a fire under my butt to be like, well, I can't shut up and I can't stop trying and I can't keep letting all these other things that we're talking about, like my mindsets, like keep me from pursuing the art and the stuff that the Lord wants me to go after.
Right.
Because like the world is doing it.
Yeah.
And why, if I really believe that the creator lives inside of me, why am I not more confident to just go forward
Yeah.
and like actually do it?
Dude, that's such a good topic. No, seriously.
We should say that for another
We sh-
episode because there's so much to unpack
Can we do
in
that next recording?
Yeah, sure.
I want to talk specifically about that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's so much to unpack there. And I'm tempted to do it right now, but I feel like
No, we can wait.
Yeah, we've
that's
like,
going to be so good.
But I think more from the aspect of creatives and culture, because obviously that's the subject that we're talking about right now. It's so obvious, and from what we brought up of like creatives literally shape culture, the societal like narrative, like that's all run by the artist.
Yeah.
So us, as we're coming up, right now we probably don't have that like big of a platform. I think it's interesting to think like, what are we going to do and how are we going to steward what God's given us now with this idea that I'm in touch with the creator, so I should have this confidence knowing that like I can create because I know the creator.
Right.
I commune with him every day. we are one. It's scripture. And then after that, thinking, okay, and I can let go of this need to try to make my art transform because I've seen it. It just does. Because those artists, like Picasso and stuff, he tried his best, but it happened after his life.
Right.
And he transformed culture after. So, like, letting go of the responsibility or, like, I guess the control of, like, putting out your art and, like, having it have an outcome. Like, you can't control that. You just need to, like, let it go. Yeah. So, like, trusting God that he's going to give you the vision for, like, your art to matter. And then also trusting him that he'll take it where it needs to go. And knowing that, like, art does transform. So you just have to put it out.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
100%.
Before we go to our next segment, I'm just going to summarize the best I can everything we talked about. So, if you're an artist out there, creative musician, whatever you do, your art does matter. If you just keep on going, if you just keep on creating, be authentic to who you're called to be, your work will create impact. Creatives, we're not just decoration. We are transformation. That's the
intro.
That's our intro.
Decoration.
We are transformation. It's true. We bring transformation. Creatives, we bring transformation. We have scientists who try to inform the world with all these things. We try to understand the world. We have governors that try to govern the world. We have creatives who literally we create worlds. Yeah. We create worlds.
Create reality.
We create new realities, right? And so we bring culture. We affect culture. So keep on creating. You do matter. Your work matters. And we're in this together. We're gonna change the world.
One step at a time.
That's beautiful. I thought you were going to jump in there. I saw you jump forward a little bit. She almost did it. Anyways, we're going to go into our viewer questions. So our viewer questions, I'm going to butcher your name. Okay, I'm not going to laugh because that's their name. We're not going to laugh at that, guys.
Okay.
Someone thought really long to create this name for them.
Yeah.
This question is for Sukhwinder V from India. I hope I said that right, Sukhwinder. Trying to keep it together. Okay, I just got the joy of the Lord right now.
That's what it is.
So Sukhwinder said, "Hi Garden Studios, I am a ceramic artist and painter. Although I would love to be a full-time artist, my parents insist that I go to school for medicine. I have no interest in going into the medical field, and all I want to do is become a full-time artist. How do I go about becoming who I want to be without disappointing my parents?" What do you guys think? Let's take turns.
Opinions.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Does anyone else want to
share?
Yeah, go first, and we'll go down the line.
I honestly have kind of a hot take for a musician. I am like a full-time creative at the moment. Not doing the best financially, to be honest. But with that being said, I think when you're just dreaming about the life of being a full-time artist, it feels kind of glamorous, especially because most of the times when we see someone being full-time, they're really, really successful, and we're seeing them at the end or middle of their journey, not really in the beginning. So I think on a practical aspect, I think it's just smart and wise to get some other type of work and to start it as a side thing.
Yeah.
And to be fully passionate, to not like do it like halfway. I was going to use a different saying, but I'm trying to stop saying that. The half Andrew Jackson.
Half-assed? Right.
To not do it that way, but to find another means of supporting yourself while you're pursuing your art, which is really difficult. It's not easy. But I think that way, honestly, it's more practical. And when you're speaking to your parents, you can show them, hey, I have a game plan. I have a goal. This is what I'm working towards. But at the end of the day, someone is always going to be disappointed with you. Always. Whether it's your parents, and I know like you want to make them proud. But you're never going to be completely pleasing everyone. There's people in my family that think it's ridiculous and stupid that I went to school for what I did. Because I went to school for music. I remember going to college and they're like, this is idiotic. Why are you doing this? And I remember being like, at the end of the day, when I put my head on the pillow, who's there with me? It's just me.
Yeah.
No one else has to live with your life decisions other than you.
Yeah.
So like letting go of that need to please anybody or trying to fit in some sort of mold, but knowing like my decisions truly really only affect me. I mean, obviously your decisions affect other people, but if you don't have a family and you're just like taking care of yourself, like the only person that's left at the end of the day is you.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do?
That's true.
What you gonna do?
What
That's
you
so
gonna
true.
do? That was great. What about you, baby?
This is tough because honestly, like trying to please your parents is like such a big deal.
Yeah.
It's good, but at the same time, it can't stop you from like actually living your life. You know, what I'm doing right now is I went to school for occupational therapy. Got that degree. I haven't done it for like 2 years because I went to school to pursue something that I really loved and was passionate about. And like what you were saying, financially it was tough because so I did occupational for 3 years, was thriving like financially, like very stable, but at the same time I was like kind of like dying inside because I wasn't doing what I was passionate about. And then went to the opposite from like being financially stable to like God always provided. Thank God for that. But
100.
Yeah.
like I was always provided for, but it was tough, you know? But now I'm at that point where I was like, I'm going to go back, but like part-time as an occupational therapy so that I do have the finances, but I'm using it as like a stepping block to pursue my actual dreams. So I have that on the side, but I'm also doing this, which is like something creatively, and then to raise the money and fund so that in the future we'll be able to like actually have like our own place, you know, our own shop, our own storefront, or whatever it is that Gardens is going to become. But like, yeah, just using, you know, being kind of like smart, like knowing a balance between I'm still creating, but also having that job as kind of like to help out, if that makes any sense.
No, 100%. That makes sense. First, I just made an apology statement. I want to make another one. Is that okay, guys?
All right.
Mom, Dad, I'm sorry that I'm not a nurse. You guys hear my stomach? I got hungry. You guys hear that?
I mean, you probably thought of your mom's food.
I know, I thought of my mom's food. But listen, Suckwinder.
I forgot the name.
What? Why are you laughing? Suckwinder. I'm sorry, Sucky. Can I call you? No.
Sucky.
I feel really close to you, Sucky, because I kind of went through this also. A lot of Asian parents want us to be nurses, doctors, mailman,
Lawyers.
lawyers. I don't
Probably
know.
not mailman.
Probably not
Maybe a
mailman.
I
lawyer.
feel like that's
Engineer.
also like for Asian culture, but particularly for like immigrants too, which I have that same experience as well of like growing up an immigrant coming to the country.
Yeah.
Your parents are like, this is
Yeah.
like what you need to do. And like
Right.
in their head, there's like the top jobs.
Yeah.
You're a doctor or a lawyer.
Architect.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Engineer.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a quote, but I believe it's John Adams. Okay, I'm sorry if it's not John Adams, but he says, and I'm gonna change it up because I don't remember it word per word. But he basically said, remix, wicka. He's basically said, our parents were scientists. I don't know, astrologists, blah 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 blah, so that we can become lawyers, doctors, and so on and so forth. And we are doctors, lawyers, and so on and so forth, so that our children may be artists, potters, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. Something like that. So basically, you know, our family they couldn't. Oh, my stomach is going crazy right now. Sorry if you guys can hear that, but our families, you know, they crossed the board. Not cross the border. That sounds bad.
That's from the Philippines. You didn't cross the border.
They crossed something. But they came here for a better life.
Yeah.
And you know, my parents were taking odd jobs. You know, doing carpentry. You know, bussing tables, whatever they could do. And now we have an opportunity to become a podcast.
Yeah.
And,
No, but honestly, it makes me emotional. I
me
think.
too.
Thank you to all the parents who sacrificed.
Okay, well, can we do our parents' photos right here? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Thanks, Mom.
This is my mom.
This is my mom and dad.
This is my dad.
my
Tu
parents.
madre.
I could put my grandma. My grandma, queen.
There we go.
My grandpa got us to this country. They really did that.
Did they?
Yeah.
What's their names?
Teresa
Teresa?
and Luis Guillermo.
Teresa y Luis Green. Muchas gracias para mi amiga Cristina aquí por mí.
When you were singing Spanish, your mouth looked like it was numb.
Like it's not moving.
You were like, gracias.
But yeah, thank you to all our immigrant ancestors.
Yeah.
For changing what we're doing now. And with that being said, we're going to move on to
Our last segment.
kind of our last segment, and it's our children book rap.
Challenge.
We have never done this before. Children book rap challenge. So we're gonna do a bit of switcheroo.
I am so hyped for this. Y'all don't even understand. This book is so good.
Isn't it?
I love this book. I really want to start buying children's books. Just
We have
to,
a bunch in the garage.
not for anything, just to encourage myself.
Be careful.
No, some of these children's books are so encouraging. Or even children's movies. I watched The Lorax the other day with this little girl. Oh my god.
I'm struggling over here. Sorry. I had no power over my body for a second there.
To be honest, too, I forgot that the mics move, so I had to like under.
Okay, so
All right.
this works.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our children's book rap challenge, I will be your DJ. I'll be creating the musicalities.
What's your DJ name?
My DJ name is DJ Chemo.
Okay.
So I'll be creating a beat. I'll be a it's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And then Mattel here is gonna rap off this book. Who's that book by, baby? Give him a shout out.
It is called Change Sings by Amanda Gorman.
And
Pictures by Lauren Long.
it's a great children's book. I've read it a couple times. It made me cry.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create musicalities here, and then Mattel's gonna rap with the children's book.
This is my
over.
first time rapping here, so.
This is her
I'm excited.
debut. This is her. What's your MC? MC what? MC.
MC
Ling Ling.
No.
MC Ling Ling. Is MC Ling Ling, and DJ Chemo, and then Luna.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You know.
she's gonna rap, and then we're gonna create a hook every time, every page, and then yeah. So I'll do the first hook, you do the first, but join me after, okay? Mm-hmm. So let's see.
A little nervous.
Okay, let's see.
I can hear change humming in its loudest, proudest song. I don't fear change coming, and so I sing along.
Yeah, and so I sing along.
Sing along.
Yeah. One more time. So I sing along.
Sing along.
Here we go.
I scream with the skies of red and blue streamers. I dream with the cries of tried and true dreamers.
I'm dreaming alone, dreaming and singing my song. I'm dreaming and singing my song. Keep going.
Okay.
You kill it, DJ Ling Ling. Here we go.
I'm a chant that rises and rings. There is hope where my change sings. Though some don't understand.
Keep going. Do the last line.
Okay, hold on.
I tried to turn it up, you know what I'm saying?
It just sounded like you couldn't breathe.
Sorry. Come on, baby. Do my
Ooh, okay, last pages. Though some don't understand it, those windmills of mystery, I sing with all the planet and its hills of histories.
That's MC Ling Ling, DJ Chemo, and Luna on the vocals. And before we say goodbye, we just want to do a quick plug to Kristine Bover,
Yes.
forgive me, Kristine Bover, vocal coaching. Can you tell us
Yeah.
about that? Where can we find you?
Yeah, so just go to KristineBover.com or Kristine Bover. No, but it's just Kristine with a K. You can see it spelled there. Bover, like rover, but just with a B. And yeah, I do vocal lessons, and I try to incorporate Holy Spirit into everything we do. So especially for BSSM Bethel friends, knowing if it's not just about vocal technique, but my main objective is to get you in tune and in touch with the instrument that God made for you. You have everything you need within you. I believe every person can sing. Just some people, it takes a little bit more of discovering. So my joy is to just get to know you and to help give you practical tools so you can be the best singer you could be. So yeah, I love teaching, by the way. So come work with me, please. Thank you.
Do you do online, Zoom?
Yes. So I do online lessons through this website called Jitsi. So it's not Zoom, but it's actually so much easier to use than Zoom. So I do that. I also do in person, go to you. So either way, in person, online. And I've worked with people of all ages. Literally, my youngest student was 4, and my oldest, I think, actually 54. So all ages from different time zones, Miami, the middle of the country, out here in California. So no matter who you are, where you are, I would love to work with you.
Yes.
So we'll add the info.
Yeah, KristineBover.com.
Check it out.
Check it out. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in.
Thank
we
you
love you
guys.
guys.
Not just
Love the little music at the end there.
Thanks.
Fancy.
Love y'all.
I love you.